Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Clayton's Classroom. Today is February 21st already, and our guest host tonight is Dr. and Mrs. Raman Gokal and Renata Katerina Gokal, and we're so pleased to have them join us tonight. I don't know about the rest of you, but it's a little chilly out here in Arizona. I think winter finally got here with a with a big statement. I was driving into town this morning early, but it was 16 degrees in Arizona, which is unusual. So hopefully that the rest of you are staying warm and enjoying the seasons, the changes, and how they come at us. And I know that tonight we're going to be getting some tips and techniques on how we can work more effectively with all the changes that are in our midst and in ourselves. So the first thing I'd like to do tonight is read our short disclaimer. This call is intended for informational purposes only. Neither the products nor the statements made about the products on this call have been evaluated by the FDA, AMA, or any other medical entity. The views and opinions expressed on this call by Clayton Nolte, distributors, customers, and or other speakers solely represent the conclusions of said speakers and are not guarantees that anyone using the products will achieve the same results. These conclusions and products are not intended to be substitutes for the diagnosis, treatment, cure, or prevention of any disease or injury, nor should they be taken as substitutes for the advice of a physician. Anyone suffering from disease or injury should consult with a physician. All right, well, let's just get on with it here. We have we have a lot in store for you this evening, and the first thing I want to do is introduce Clayton Nolte. And Clayton, I've introduced you how many times, and I sound like a broken record when I talk about all of your attributes, and I don't even talk about all your attributes because we just honestly don't have enough time in an hour to go there. And of course, you're always showing us more as we continue down this on this journey. But I know that you have been you've had quite a background of many years of observing subtle and free energies in nature, and most of this began when you were in the military, and for a number of different reasons which you have chosen to take that information and that knowledge to channel that into improving the quality of life through developing a technology that mimics how water moves in nature and creates a double vortexing activity and structures water. And I know you'll be speaking to that, of what structured water is, and describing more of those attributes this evening. And I just want to say that we have been very fortunate to all be a part of this journey and to learn and share many of the things that have come up, not just from you, but from people that have been drawn to you. And we certainly have an example of that this evening. So, Clayton, I'm making this a little shorter, but I think you'll fill in the gaps tonight. Again, welcome to Clayton's Classroom.
Thank you, darling. Appreciate that.
Always nice to have you show up.
I'm all in.
Oh, good. I'm so relieved. And we have a very dear friend, both dear friends, that are joining us this evening. And they've joined us on Clayton's Classroom in the past, and in person they've come to visit us in Sedona. Dr. Raman Gokal is a medical doctor. Actually, he's a nephrologist, retired, and he specializes in kidney disease and disorders. And he also has served as a medical professor and a published author in the medical field of research. He is a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford University in the UK and an esteemed emeritus professor of medicine living in Canada. Since his early retirement, he has extended his interest in spiritual health and complementary medicine. With his involvement with Ayurveda, Reiki, reconnected healing, yoga, and pranayama brings a bridge between allopathic and complementary therapies. Dr. Gokal is always a welcome addition to our call with his greater understanding of Clayton's mission and the potential of structured water, and using this technology to breathe structured air in all the different kinds of healing applications that he's been practicing and learning and teaching for many years. His lovely wife, Renata Katerina Gokal, is proficient in alternative therapies, including Vedic philosophy, yoga, pranayama, and she is a lovely spirit and a wonderful contributor to Clayton's classroom with her experiences and deeper insights about structured water. I want to welcome both of you to Clayton's classroom tonight, and thank you so much for joining us.
Well, we're very pleased to be. Thank you for having us and giving us the opportunity to share what little knowledge we have in this area of structured water, as well as all the other spiritual aspects of life.
And I hear that lovely voice in the background. Renata Katerina, can we hear a word from you or two?
A word of divine wisdom, or a word about the structural water?
Anything you would like to offer it. I'm sure as we get going, you'll have a lot more to say.
Water. That is really more profound, right?
Yes.
Oh, you didn't hear me probably. I said the divine wisdom combined with the technology, the water technology, right, makes it even more authentic and more beautiful.
I mean, if I could just add one point there before we start with the breathing, is that, our spiritual path in leading us from where we are now in this third dimension to who we really are, and this journey is probably the most important facet of our life, or it should be. And whatever we have that aids us in this journey, and that includes structured air, structured waters, structured food, whatever we have, is an aid to direct us in that path, in that journey, to really recognize who we are. And if we are not there or intent, and we are quite okay to be in this third dimensional existence, living in our lower three chakras, which is survival. Animals survive. We are, I think, better in that sense, that we have to be not only surviving this creation, but we ought to be creating and moving ourselves into achieving our highest state. And I believe that that's what we are here. And nature, in her wisdom, has given us all the tools, and the tools are the structured water, structured air, and all these other ancient wisdoms that we have.
Perfect. I love it. It fits right in. It fits right in.
Well, that's what it's all about. I mean, that's what our belief is, and we try and practice that on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute basis. And I particularly, and more so than my wife, you lose your way because there are so many distractions. And you have to get yourself back in. And that is the process of being conscious, of being aware. And you use all these technological advances, etc., that we have to get you back on the channel and the route again. Because the mind, in Vedic terminology, it says the mind is very, it hops about. It's like a grasshopper, boom, 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 here every day. And before you know, you could be in Hong Kong and then back in Canada and all the rest of it. But to be conscious and be aware, we have aids, and I do believe that structure here and water and everything else keeps your intent focused on where we are going. That does not mean you abandon your responsibilities in this dimension. You have to live them, you have to work, you have to look after your family, etc., etc. But one should not lose sight of one's focus in life. I was saying in that lecture that like the river flows from the Himalayas to the Bay of Bengal, that's River Ganges. Its aim, whatever else happens along the shores on the path, its aim is to get to the ocean. And our intent has to be that. We have to get there. It's like getting home. And I say, home is where Om is. And Om is that sacred word. But we may talk about all that later on.
Beautiful. Well, there's some things I have been looking into involving just different practice, different kinds of breath work methods. And how they've been used for many years. And Clayton has talked about this over the years that I've known him. And one thing that's fascinated me recently is this gentleman who, he's actually from the Netherlands, who's been getting quite a bit of attention on how he's used his breath to change his inner temperature. And he's been involved very publicly with scientific studies and to observe how he can actually change the reaction of his immune system to very very toxic viruses and things injected directly into his system, and not only him, but a group of people that he has taught this same technique. And so it's just, we just need to understand, and it's through these kinds of gatherings and sharing the power of even doing the breath work through the breathing sequence that Clayton will be leading us in here momentarily, that can do things very simply, like you were saying, Dr. Gokal, of just reducing the amount of distraction and reducing our anxiety, reducing stress, improving our relationships, increasing our happiness. All the things that we strive for, we run around so quickly trying to get to, but sometimes our running around gets us off track. So it's good to know we can have simple ways to bring us back.
That's very true.
So that being said, Clayton, I'm going to let you take us into the breathing sequence. And I didn't ask people to drink water before we got to this. I'm sorry for that. But you can drink water, hopefully structured water, at any time during this, during our call and our gathering together. And if you do have a portable unit, you can pick that up now and join the sequence breathing through your portable. If you don't, you can do the sequence and still get great benefits from the breath work. So with no more noise from me, I'm going to turn it over to you, Clayton, and you can lead us from here.
Thank you. Virtually everything that you guys have led up to this moment in this evening event, is significantly part of what structuring is all about. And